Shalom, shalom. I want to first off by giving all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. It's the Wab Ban Yahweh um, with the lesson, with more of like a spiritual rant, so to speak. Um, just looking at this picture, uh, what it says, and it just makes me think. Well, I was already pondering on this like all day, really, just how we hear, those of us in His truth, and we know what's going on, but we still gotta continue on in our day, like as if we don't know what's going on, and that can be very tiring and mentally exhausting, and ultimately it leaves you lonely because you have an understanding in the world that nobody else typically, and I can't say nobody, but a majority of the people do not have. And the people that do have the same mindset as you are either far away to where you can only communicate via, social media, text message, you know, um, through the phone, or of people that think like you, but you don't come across these people ever. You only simply come across these brain dead, dumbed down people. You have to dumb down your conversation 90% of the time. It's rare that you get to really delve into the deep conversations that your brain and your spirit is yearning for, because ultimately you're on a different mental path and a spiritual path than the average person. So that can be mentally taxing as well as emotionally taxing, because you just want someone who you can uh, exchange conversations with or exchange information, get different perspectives, things like that. Expound in where your brain goes. And a lot of us, brothers and sisters, we end up lonely or feeling lonely. You may even have a partner or whatever, but they may not have the same mindset as you. They may be intrigued by you, you're interesting to them, they're always learning from you, you know, but they're not a person that can reciprocate. And that can be very, emotionally taxing on you as well, because you're pouring into someone and then you're expecting to get that in return, or at least um like comprehension. You want to feel like you're being heard. And 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna feel or be seen, because the path that you're on is an isolated path. It's only for you. I mean, you can enlighten people along the way, and they may, take the journey with you, or, you know, so to speak, just like to be in your presence for the information and, things like that. But you cannot physically or mentally make people change. So that has to be done on their own, and a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are not doing that on the daily. A lot of people are stagnant. They get comfortable. They like who they are at a certain point, and they don't want to change that. But life is all about changing and evolving, and that's what knowledge is too. It's always changing and evolving, and you're constantly pursuing it. And you're constantly seeking the Lord, and you're constantly seeking guidance from them, and you dwelling amongst these people who, only worry about worldly dumb stuff, and then you the the path you're on is just way different than the average person. So this is more so just to say, keep focusing on what you're supposed to be doing, which is spending more time with the Lord, while in the physical, because we don't have a point in time where we get to dwell, you know, physically as well, but now is the time to just have a concrete relationship with them without seeing them and focusing on them only, because at the end of the day, putting your faith in people, in relationships, friendships, you know, goals, things like that. And I'm not saying don't aspire to go after these things or have them, but don't put your all your happiness into this physical world, because we all know that this world is going to pass away. None of this stuff is forever or concrete. And people show you all the time. Like, you can literally be on a, like, you can literally be in good terms with somebody. You know, you guys can be uh getting along well and all that, and then all of a sudden the person just switches up on you out of nowhere and just leaves you stranded, leaves you, confused, you know, uh a lot of times you tend to blame yourself because you think that you're doing too much, or something you may have said or done, or you may have overcompensated uh being there for a person. You may have seemed in your mind overbearing or overwhelming to someone, when in reality what you do and what you give is the best remedy for people on earth. When you went through enough stuff and you've been through enough things, and to where you want to treat people a certain way and do things for people a certain way, that's the rarest, you know, mindset and heart to have. To still have a heart, to still be humane, to still have empathy, to still input kindness, into your day to day living. That's rare, and that's, a lot of people don't have that. So for a person who's been through things and to maintain it and then to give back of what they've been given abundantly from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that's a rare thing. And people are going to miss out on that. And when they do, that's going to be their fault. But you know who is going to give you all that in return, who was there for you the whole time, who's seen it all? Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. They're the ones that seen you go through this, or heard what people said about you behind your back, or what people gossip about you to other people. The Lord knows all this. So when things go awry, or things don't start going your way, you think you found someone you might have meshed with, or mesh, or vibe with, or whatever, and then things go left. That's just, a lot of times, a step in another direction is just protection. That's how I like to think about it, because ultimately your path, a woman or a friend or anybody is not going to guide you down the right path all the time. A lot of people are going to give you their own opinion, when the Lord knows what's best for you. And He's the one that, when you're seeking them, when you're seeking Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus, when you're seeking them and you're trying to follow the path that they want you to go down, a lot of times you're gonna feel like you're gonna need to take that path alone. And because you're just so fed up with the superficial living on this side, you're so fed up with the fakeness, the rudeness, the switch ups. You're tired of it all. Your body becomes, ill from that. In a sense, to where your spirit becomes way down. You become, brokenhearted, downtrodden, sad, all these things, because people just don't know how to treat people the right way. And though you have the remedy for it and you can, give it out to people, it don't mean you're always gonna get it back. So, with that being said, just get a couple verses, and then I'm gonna wrap it up because this is just something that was on my mind. Um, a little bit of personal experience, but as well as just you know the only people that are important, or the only things that are important, is getting your life right, repenting, and seeking Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai now more than ever now while we have this time of repentance. Where is it? Four and I'll read the New Living Translation. This is Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. So I'll continue on. Avoid all perverse talk. Stay away from corrupt speech. Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet. Stay on the safe path. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. And that's what I mean, like chasing women and chasing, friends, and seeking these friendships for worldly people. It'll have you out here committing evil, committing sin, on top of sin that, you know, will ultimately get you judged out here, like quick. I mean, all sin is worth judgment, big and small. But some things are uh, reprehensible, or recompensable in a swift manner. And having the wrong crowd, being around the wrong people, like scriptures say, corrupt people, or bad people corrupt good manners. You know, meaning they can corrupt your life. You hang around enough bad people who ain't right for you. Um, but my main point is 23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. If you read the King James version, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Yeah. So when you pondering on why so and so don't like me, or why this didn't work out, those are things that'll get you sidetracked. Those are things that'll you know deter you and keep you away from what's important. And what's important is maintaining your faith and doing what is needed, within the ministry, as well as what you need for salvation, which is keeping Yahweh and Yahweh Shai first, and doing what would please them above all else. Making the right decisions. Being a good individual. Being a righteous son of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I had something else too. Uh, Going to the New Testament in Mark 4, and I'll read the New Living, or I'll read King James version. And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in, choke the word, and it become unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some. Okay. But the point is, I actually go up, and this is, speaking about, being sold on good ground, gravel, sand. This is basically your foundation. You know, when you're not fully locked in, so to speak, on the truth, and uh, when you're halfway in, halfway out, you know, it's not gonna stick with you. The truth ain't gonna stick with you because you haven't fully put away the nonsense of the world. What the world cares about: status, money, luxuries, materials, uh, who could have the finest wife or the sexiest husband, you know, who could have the biggest house, all this dumb shit that don't matter. These things, if you're not fully, over these things in the flesh, it only corrupts your spirit. Because when you hear the truth, it's not gonna stick with you. It's not gonna stay with you. It's gonna be a bit of a nuisance to you because it doesn't. The word and the truth is very contrary to the world and its philosophies and theologies on things. So when you're hearing two different things that are contrary to one, you're gonna pick the one that sounds best to you 9 times out of 10. But it depends on where you're at spiritually in this world. If you're not, fully engulfed in becoming a better person or becoming a man of God or a woman of God, then the world is going to entice you with its nonsense and its bullshit. So, you know, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things entering in choke the word, the truth, and it become unfruitful. Meaning it don't hold no weight with you. It's unuseful to you when it's really what you need. I'll read the New Living Translation. But all too quickly the message is crowded out by the worries of this life, the lure of wealth, and the desire for other things, so no fruit is produced. Meaning, you will not do anything to help the ministry. You will not spread the gospel. You will not, because you're too worried about what so and so gonna think about you or how you gonna look to this girl or to your cousin or how whoever you uphold, whoever's opinion you uphold the most, or people's opinion you uphold within your life. It'll choke you and hold you from actually using your gifts and using your talents, within the ministry. So when we have what we have in our hearts and in our minds daily is ultimately what we're gonna uh, chase after. So if you don't have uprightness, kindness, love, the fruits of the spirit, patience, you're not going to exude that. You're going to exude the materialistic, greedy, prideful, arrogant, slothful, just things that are not of the spirit. You're going to produce those things and enact them, and it makes you look and sound dumb. So yeah, um, I'll end it out on. Yeah, I ended out on 22 to 25. For everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret will be brought to light. Anyone with ears to hear shall listen and understand. Then he added, pay close attention to what you hear. the closer you listen, the more understanding you will be given, and you will receive even more. To those who listen to my teaching, talking about Yahushua, more understanding will be given. But for those who are not listening, even what little understanding they have will be taken away from them. And and that's exactly what can happen when you're too enticed and too worried about the world. When you hear the truth, that little bit of salvation and hope that you have for yourself and your soul is now stripped away from you because you not inclined your ear to true instruction, to true understanding of the world, to true understanding of how things work. And the Lord is only going to take it away from you and give it to someone else who's going to put it to use. So I'm going to end it on that one. And, Lord willing, this is edifying. It makes sense. It's just something that was on my mind. I ain't had no videos or, nothing. I got videos, but I just didn't feel like doing a video today. I just wanted to, more so just speak on what was going on in my spirit and my mind. And Lord willing, it's edifying. It makes sense because that's the only thing that we can do. Worrying about women, worrying about relationships, anything outside of truth and outside of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is detrimental to your salvation and ultimately just your spirit and mind. We don't have time to be lacking and worried about other things, and we're in a time of, we're in a time of grace, but we also in a time of great destruction coming. So it's best that we focus on what's important, and what's important is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, and not losing the Holy Spirit, and not losing understanding. So with that, I want to say good night, good morning to those who are listening. Once again, I want to say Call Halayim La, Alahaya Nawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. All praise to the Most High Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahushai. And thank you and double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone, which are learning truth from. Peace, salutations to the hopeful elect out there who labor in this word with truth and sincerity and give their body to the living sacrifice day in and day out on the highways and byways and the sit downs. And to the speckled bird Israelite, happen to look like these other nations through ethnicity, but in the spirit and bloodline, do come back to the nation of Israel. To you I say Shalom. To the few Aquas listening and learning, and in obedience and silence, to you I say Shalom as well. Just have a good night. Shalom. On to the next one.